when audiences reject your product, what should you do? Maybe have some introspection and maybe say, hey, how can I perform better, do something better? No, this is what Hollywood does and people associated with them. They blame the audience. That is what Netflix's The Witcher executive producer Tomek Baginski did when he was asked why they changed from the source material so much in the Netflix series. And he specifically noted that Americans would not grasp a, quote, higher level of nuance and complexity. Let's get into this here. So he did an interview, post-season 3 interview given to Polish newspaper Gazeta Wyborcza. I'm probably butchering that. It's been translated by Redanian Intelligence, and he was asked by the outlet for his thoughts regarding what he thinks about people criticizing the show for making up weird plots that changed what worked well in the books. And then he said, when you start discussing it, it usually turns out that screenwriters thought this solution out, that it's not completely crazy. It's no secret that we, the series production team and fans, often disagree. Things are created in the discussion. Michael Nawaria, probably butchering that name, who is our tester, does a great job. He checks what fits the world from books. Sometimes we get such a long list of things from him because in many places we went in a different direction, but there's a reason for it every time. Sometimes the changes are the result of production chaos because, for example, an actor fell ill and his plot needs to be edited and rewritten within a few hours so that it can be shot the next day, because this is not a plot for which the whole production machine will stop. That makes sense. There are a lot of but not to the extent that The Witcher has changed it. I mean, right? That makes sense for maybe like one day or like one scene in one episode, but not to the extent that they've changed the show. So you got to give me something else here, right? There are a lot of understandable reasons why controversial decisions are made, but the viewer does not have this context, so sometimes it hurts because something was better in the book. Well, why aren't you giving us this context, right? So he then was asked to provide, he then tried to provide more context and recalled how he had the same perceptual block when he presented Hardcore 44, his alternate history take on the Warsaw Uprising of World War II abroad years ago. He said, I tried to explain there was an uprising against Germany, but the Russians were across the river, and on the German side, there were also soldiers from Hungary or Ukraine. For Americans, it was completely incomprehensible, too complicated because they grew up in a different historical context where everything was arranged. America is always good, the rest are the bad guys, and there are no complications. So he goes on and says, here, when a series is made for a huge mass of viewers with different experiences from different parts of the world, and a large part of them are Americans, these simplifications not only make sense, they are necessary. So he's saying that Americans are too stupid to figure out the complexities of the series, and that's why they have to make these simplifications. This is the same audience that made Game of Thrones a massive hit, the same audience that loves Peter Jackson's adaptation of The Lord of the Rings, that has no problem understanding any number of complexities when it comes to film and television, or when it comes to reading novels. Plenty of Americans can figure out the nuance and complexity of these books and these TV shows. He went on and said, it's painful for us and for me too, but the higher level of nuance and complexity will have a smaller range. It won't reach people. Sometimes it may go too far, but we have to make these decisions and accept them. He's literally saying the majority of people that are watching The Witcher are just too dumb to figure out the complexity and the nuance that the show supposedly has. Utter ridiculousness. Like, get out of here. Like, the biggest complaints, he's literally trying to address complaints about why it deviated from the complexity of the book by saying people are too stupid. Wow. Like, guy's got balls, that's for sure. But clearly, just absolutely, just throwing the towel in, right? Our show sucks. People hate it now. So now I'm just going to insult the people that already hate the show. So even the ones that maybe we're still watching it, we could still get them on maybe for a season 4 or something. We might as well just insult them too. So hopefully we'll get them back. I mean, you're just shrinking your audience, dude. You want to talk about some complex things. That's what you've done. You clearly haven't seen the complexity of what you've just done. So, as noted by Redanian Intelligence, this is the second such time that Baginski has discussed his belief that The Witcher needed to be simplified in order to engage a wider audience. He spoke with YouTube channel in Ponderabilia in 2022 where he said, "We resign from cause and effect chains from linear narration, this book-like narration when it comes to shows. The younger the public is, the logic of the plot is less significant. What is significant to younger audiences, the creator started, just emotions, just pure emotions, a bare emotional mix. Those people grew up on TikTok and YouTube. They jump from video to video." So now he's just saying, like, the younger audience that he's trying supposedly to get to watch the show, they're the ones who are really too stupid to figure it out. So he's saying that the Zoomers are just too dumb. They can't figure out the complexities of The Witcher or anything, I guess, I don't know, above Bluey or something like that. It's truly, truly insulting to say something like this. I mean, about a wide swath of people. I think you can make that criticism on an individual basis, but to just generalize like that is just utterly ridiculous, and just shows you that you don't really truly have any kind of complex thinking on how this might affect viewership of your show. Ultimately, he closed out his thoughts by addressing this next generation of viewers, saying, "Dear children," literally calling them children. Wow. "What you do to yourself makes you less resilient for longer content, for long and complicated chains of cause and effect." So he's literally still blaming the audience rather than blaming himself, the product that he has created, and for them tuning out because they think it's absolutely garbage. I hope this show does indeed never get a season 4, and it quickly dies the death that it deserves with Henry Cavill exiting the series. You should have done better. You should not have been blaming the audience for your own failures. It's repulsive.
Subscribe for more.